If you're a man and you've been working out consistently but aren't making progress, this video is for you because I'm going to explain the number one thing that holds most men back when trying to sculpt a physique fit for a man. If you're new to the channel, my name is Josh Vecchio and I'm a personal trainer who specializes in men's health. In addition to one-on-one personal training, I also coach CrossFit and group exercise classes. And unfortunately, most of the men who show up to those classes look exactly the same week after week after week. And since they aren't my one-on-one clients, I can't give them the help that they need, but you can learn from their mistakes to ensure that you don't repeat them. As a man, you can work out all you want, but if you aren't also taking measures to maximize your testosterone levels, your progress will be slim to none. There are several reasons for this. First, testosterone simultaneously sends signals to your body to prioritize using calories to build and preserve muscle as opposed to storing them as fat. And testosterone also sends signals to your body to prioritize breaking down fat as an energy source while you're in a calorie deficit as opposed to breaking down muscle. So if you're a skinny guy and your goal is to put on muscle and bulk, you're gonna need to eat in a calorie deficit because energy cannot be created or destroyed. So in order to put on muscle, you need to have more energy going into your body than is leaving your body so that new tissue can be created. Now there's two types of tissue in the body that can be created from eating in a calorie surplus: muscle and fat. And testosterone, one of its key jobs is to send signals to your body to use those extra calories and that extra energy to ensure that it's used to build muscle instead of putting on fat. This is important to understand because if you're eating in a calorie surplus, but you have low testosterone levels, those extra calories are just gonna be stored as fat and you're not gonna build the muscle that you want. So while you're bulking and trying to build muscle and eating in a calorie surplus, you need to make sure that your testosterone levels are high so that those calories are being used to build muscle, not being stored as fat. In reverse, if you are a heavier guy and your goal is to lose body fat and get leaner, you need to eat in a calorie deficit because again, energy cannot be created or destroyed. So if you want to lose fat, you need to eat less calories than you consume. However, if you are eating in a calorie deficit, but you have low testosterone, a lot of the weight that you lose will come from muscle mass instead of fat. So if your goal is fat loss, you also need to make sure you're keeping your testosterone levels high to ensure that the weight you lose comes from fat, not from muscle. And that's one of testosterone's key jobs. This is a lesson many of my clients have to learn the hard way. One of my clients was a former football player, so he had been lifting weights for years and his goal was to lose fat. He was a big offensive lineman, so he wanted to lose fat and get leaner. However, his problem was when he was trying to lose fat, he cut his calories too low. He tried to lose fat too fast. And when you try to lose fat too fast, your body lowers testosterone production in response because your body believes that you're starving, and when your body thinks you're starving, it's not going to produce testosterone optimally. So he was trying to lose fat with low testosterone, and this led to him ending up essentially skinny fat because his body broke down muscle mass instead of body fat. So when I started working with him, the first thing we did was a metabolic reset. We put him in a calorie surplus, which is essentially a bulk. We had him put on more muscle mass, and when he put on more muscle mass and he increased his metabolism, his testosterone levels went back up. And then when we transitioned into the next fat loss phase, we made sure to lose fat slowly and sustainably over time. And we also took a lot of other measures outside of the gym to ensure that his testosterone levels were high. Because oftentimes what you do outside of the gym is equally, if not more important for your testosterone production than what you do in the gym. So while he was losing fat, he worked with me to make sure that his testosterone levels stayed high. And when we did this, the weight that he lost came from fat instead of muscle this time. And now look at him, he looks fantastic. And before I was able to help clients with this, this was a mistake that I had to learn the hard way. During my time as a football player, I played football for over a decade throughout high school and through college. I had always lifted a lot of weights for athletic performance and building muscle. Obviously, you got to be strong as a football player. However, I had a lot of bad habits outside of the gym that negatively affected my testosterone levels, so my physique and my performance wasn't as good as it could have been. Some of those habits were a poor quality diet, drinking alcohol, in college you're drinking booze, smoking weed. I didn't get my sleep quality or quantity dialed in correctly. All of these things, if not taken into account, can have a negative effect on your testosterone levels. And there's a whole lot more that I could go into, but to make this video short, we'll keep it that simple. So as you can see in my physique pictures, in this one, yes, I was lifting weights, and yes, I still had a good amount of muscle mass, but I wasn't very lean. But a few years down the line, I started to learn more and more about testosterone. I actually wrote a published thesis on male reproductive health where I put together dozens, actually hundreds of studies that investigated the reasons why testosterone levels are declining. And this was my senior thesis project in college. So once I started learning how important testosterone is for your physique, I started making a lot of changes in my lifestyle outside of the gym to optimize and maximize my testosterone levels. And look at the difference. In both pictures, my workouts were very similar. I was doing pretty much the same types of exercises, sets, reps, etc. But all the things I was doing outside of the gym to maximize my testosterone levels made a huge difference. We spoke about how testosterone tells the body to prioritize using calories for building muscle instead of storing them as fat, and how it also tells the body to prioritize breaking down fat as an energy source instead of muscle while in a calorie deficit. But in addition to its effects on muscle growth and fat loss, testosterone also increases your metabolism. Your metabolism is the number of calories that you burn at rest and throughout the day. And the higher your metabolism is, and the more calories you burn at rest, the more calories you can eat and still be in a calorie deficit to lose fat. So by increasing your metabolism, your basal metabolism, testosterone makes it easier to lose fat without lowering your calories to essentially eating like a bird. Testosterone also increases your physical energy. So testosterone just makes it feel like you have more energy. When you have high testosterone levels and you go to work out, you just feel like an absolute monster. If you have low testosterone, pretty much every time you go to the gym, you're gonna feel lethargic, you're gonna be dragging, you're not gonna feel like working out. Another key effect of testosterone is it makes effort feel good. It makes effort feel rewarding. So most people in these CrossFit classes that I coach, when I see them working out, they just look like they're in a lot of pain, they're miserable, and oftentimes they actually complain when the workout is too hard. But testosterone makes putting in effort feel rewarding. So if you go to the gym and you have high testosterone levels and effort feels rewarding, you're gonna work harder and push yourself a little bit harder than you would if you had low testosterone. And when you push yourself harder, especially when it comes to muscle growth, you're gonna progressively overload better. It's gonna lead to a more intense stimulus on your body, a more intense growth stimulus. And since your body adapts to the pressures you put on it, if testosterone makes effort feel good and you're able to put more of a stimulus on your body to grow muscle, you're gonna grow more muscle. So in short, in a nutshell, testosterone increases your energy levels so that you attack your workouts with more energy and you get more bang for your buck for every workout, but it also makes effort feel good. So you'll look forward to harder workouts instead of backing down and shying away from them. Testosterone also increases your red blood cell count. And this is really important because red blood cells deliver oxygen and nutrients to your muscles while you're training. So if you have low testosterone and you're trying to work out with a low red blood cell count, your muscles aren't going to be getting the nutrients and oxygen that they need to function optimally, so you're not going to be getting the most out of your workouts. I could go on and on about this all day, guys. Testosterone also accelerates recovery. So when you have high testosterone levels, you can recover faster in between workouts, and this allows you to hit the gym day after day after day without being broken down and having to take a lot of rest and recovery days. Whereas if you have lower testosterone, one hard workout could be enough to shock your system for 3 to 4 days. So you won't be able to get many high intense workouts in throughout the week, which is what you really need to drive the overload stimulus to build muscle and achieve your fitness goals. The last benefit that I'm going to talk about that's most pertinent to fitness is testosterone increases muscular power output. So if you have higher testosterone levels, you're going to be able to lift more weights and exert more force when you're in the gym. And when you're able to lift more weights, this leads to more of a stimulus on your muscles once again, and more stimulus leads to more progressive overload, which leads to more muscle growth. Now, in all honesty, the effect of testosterone on muscular power output isn't super pronounced in the scientific literature, but there's definitely an effect there. And this is the reason why elite athletes and bodybuilders take performance enhancing drugs and steroids. There's a reason why men's and women's sports are segregated. It's because testosterone is quite literally a performance enhancing drug. So all these men who show up to these group exercise classes that I coach, they just show up to class, they go home and they don't do anything else to optimize their testosterone levels. So a lot of them, quite honestly, and I'm not judging them, it's very good that they're showing up to class, but they still have these dad bods, these beer bellies, even after doing CrossFit for weeks and weeks and sometimes months and years on end. It's because they aren't taking measures to optimize their testosterone levels outside of the gym. So not only when they show up to the gym do they not have good energy and do they not put in good effort, a lot of them really don't work that hard in the gym because they have low testosterone and low energy. But then when they leave the gym, they're not going to recover as well, and they're also not going to get the benefits that testosterone has on building muscle and losing fat. So they're just going to the gym on this hamster wheel and not really getting anywhere. But if they were to optimize their testosterone levels, they would get all of its benefits, which is what bodybuilders and professional athletes seek when they take performance enhancing drugs. But you can also get these benefits to a lesser degree, but still get these benefits by optimizing your testosterone levels naturally. And there's a lot that goes into that. To keep it simple, I've broken it down into 5 pillars: training, nutrition, lifestyle, mindset, and purpose. So the style of training that you do has an effect on your testosterone production. Yes, you need to be lifting weights, but you also need to metabolically challenge your body. If you lift weights and then take 2 or 3 minutes of rest in between, you're not really working hard enough to optimize testosterone production. So you need your workouts to be really intense. The best scientific literature on how to optimize your testosterone with your workouts is they found that 6 sets of 10 of compound exercises like squats with 80% of your 1 rep max and 60 seconds rest led to the highest production of testosterone. And if you aren't aware, that is an extremely intense, challenging workout. Those parameters are quite challenging. So it's interesting because there's this bidirectional relationship between testosterone production and effort. You need to put in a lot of effort into your training to maximize the testosterone release that comes after, but then that testosterone release will increase your capacity for effort for your next workout. So you got to put in effort to get testosterone production, but then that testosterone production will help you put in more effort. So that's pillar 1. You need to train the right way to optimize testosterone. The second pillar is nutrition. In order to optimize your testosterone levels, you need to do 2 things when it comes to nutrition. Number 1, you need to eat foods that deliver all of the vitamins and minerals that your body needs to produce testosterone optimally. And you also need to avoid foods that contain ingredients and chemicals that lower testosterone. Those are found in processed foods and fast foods, so you need to avoid those. The only diet that accomplishes this perfectly is the paleo diet. On the paleo diet, you only eat foods that our caveman ancestors would have eaten. So think just whole meats, like just a steak, or just chicken, eggs, fish, sardines, seafood, fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds. Basically, ask yourself, would a caveman have access to this food? If the answer is no, something like pizza, chips, soda, crackers, any processed food, fast food, McDonald's, if the answer is the caveman would not have access to this food, you shouldn't be eating it. So the paleo diet is the best diet for testosterone production. The third pillar is lifestyle, and this is referring to most of the things that you do outside of the gym. So we're talking about your sleep quality and quantity. This is extremely important. So many people say they're too busy for sleep, but they don't have their priorities straight. So you need to consistently get enough good quality sleep. Your sleep quality matters a lot as well. You also need to make sure you are avoiding chemicals and toxins in our environment called endocrine disruptors that get into our bodies and negatively affect testosterone production. The two most common ones are microplastics and pesticides. You also need to do things in your lifestyle to optimize your testosterone. The third pillar is mindset. One of the most important things I've ever learned is that the mind has an equally, if not more important effect as the things you do with your body and physically on your testosterone production. For example, chronic stress and depression both lower testosterone. So having a positive mindset actually leads to higher testosterone levels, which can give you a benefit in the gym. And the last pillar is purpose. This is sort of related to mindset, but whenever your life is aligned with something that you love to do, so for most men, this is their work, this is their job. When you love your work and your job, this leads to higher levels of status. And it's scientifically proven that men who have higher levels of status have higher testosterone levels. So I know this seems kind of far-fetched, like how is this relating to fitness and my physique? Basically, if you hate your job and you wake up every day dreading going to work, you're gonna feel low status, and this is going to cognitively lower your testosterone levels. But if you find a career or a business that you love and you wake up every day and you're excited to work, this is gonna increase your self-perceived status and indirectly increase your testosterone levels psychologically. And when your testosterone levels are higher because you have a great career and a positive mindset, this is gonna bleed over into the gym. Trust me when I tell you, these effects matter. And you also need to avoid certain things like alcohol, weed, excessive ejaculation. All these things can negatively affect your testosterone levels. The list goes on and on. I could speak almost all day about all the things you need to be doing consistently to optimize your testosterone, which in doing so will lead to better fitness outcomes for you. So if you're struggling with your fitness or low testosterone and you need help optimizing your testosterone levels or getting in the best shape of your life, check out the top link in the description. That leads to my Testosterone Transformation Academy, which is a one-on-one men's health coaching program that I've developed from all of my experience as a personal trainer and researching testosterone. And the program is designed to help you optimize your testosterone levels naturally so that you can get in the best shape of your life and overcome any symptoms of low testosterone that you might be suffering with. And my client, that former football player who I mentioned, who lost that fat because he was able to optimize his testosterone, he went through the Testosterone Transformation Academy. So that's just one example of the many men who go through the academy and graduate a completely different man from who they entered as. So if that sounds like something you could benefit from, check out that link and we'll see if you're a good fit. The key point you need to take away from this video is that testosterone is extremely important for your fitness outcomes because it helps you build muscle, it helps you burn fat, it makes effort feel good, it gives you energy. And if you're not doing things outside of the gym to optimize your testosterone, you will not make much progress in the gym, just like all these guys that I see who show up to CrossFit class every single week but still look the same. So if that sounds like you, start optimizing your testosterone and I promise your fitness outcomes will improve. That's all I have for this video. I'll see you in the next one.